A wild foal, alone in a blizzard. Forest Ranger Marcus Webb thought getting the terrified young horse to safety would be the hard part. But as he led the foal through the storm toward shelter, Marcus saw fresh tracks in the snow behind them. Large tracks. Something was following them through the white-out conditions. When Marcus finally turned to see what had been trailing them for over a mile, what he discovered wasn't a threat. It was something that would break his heart and redefine everything he thought he knew about wild horses and the depths of maternal love. Subscribe now for incredible true animal stories. You won't believe what happens next. Marcus Webb spotted the foal at 4:47 p.m., just as the Wyoming blizzard shifted from bad to catastrophic. He'd been checking the backcountry trails near Dubois, making sure no hikers were caught unprepared by the storm that weather services had upgraded from winter advisory to full blizzard warning. Visibility was dropping fast. Wind gusts were hitting 40 miles per hour, and the temperature was plunging toward -15 degrees. The foal stood alone in a small clearing, approximately 5 months old, with a dark bay coat already accumulating snow. The young horse was shivering violently, clearly disoriented and terrified. Marcus had worked as a forest ranger in this region for 8 years and had encountered wild Mustang herds countless times. But he'd never seen a foal this young completely separated from its herd in conditions this deadly. Marcus approached slowly, speaking in calm tones despite the howling wind. "Easy there, little one. Where's your family?" The foal's ears swiveled toward his voice, but the young horse didn't run. That alone told Marcus how desperate the situation was. Wild foals didn't typically tolerate human approach. This one was too cold, too scared, or too exhausted to flee. The ranger scanned the area for the foal's herd. Nothing. Just endless white in every direction, visibility reduced to maybe 30 feet. Marcus checked his GPS. The nearest shelter was his ranger cabin, approximately 1.3 miles northeast. The foal wouldn't survive another hour in these conditions without protection. Marcus made his decision. He'd guide the foal to his cabin, warm it up, and contact wildlife services in the morning when the storm passed. He pulled an emergency thermal blanket from his pack and approached the shivering youngster. The foal allowed him to drape the crinkly material over its small body, another sign of how compromised the animal was. "All right, buddy. We're going on a walk. Stay close to me." Marcus began trudging through the deepening snow, constantly checking that the foal followed. The young horse stayed within 10 feet, clearly understanding that this human represented its only chance at survival. They'd traveled perhaps 200 yards when Marcus first noticed the tracks. He'd been focused on navigation and keeping the foal moving, but during a brief clearing in the snow, he glanced back and saw them. Large hoof prints, adult horse tracks, fresher than the accumulating snow should have allowed. Someone, something, was behind them. Marcus stopped, squinting back through the white curtain of snow. He saw nothing. But those tracks were unmistakable. Another horse was out here, moving in the same direction they were moving, following them. Marcus's first thought was relief. Maybe the foal's mother was trying to catch up. But something felt wrong. The tracks showed an irregular gait, a dragging quality that suggested injury. The foal suddenly called out, a high-pitched, plaintive whinny that cut through the wind. And from somewhere behind them in the storm, an answer came. A mare's call, weak and distant but unmistakable. The foal tried to turn back, but Marcus gently blocked its path. "No, little one. We keep moving forward. If that's your mama, she'll follow us to shelter." They continued through the blizzard, Marcus constantly checking over his shoulder. The tracks kept appearing in the brief moments when the snow would thin enough to see the ground they'd already covered. Each time the tracks were closer. Whatever was following them was gaining ground despite the difficult conditions. Marcus's concern grew with each step. If this was an injured mare trying to reach her foal, she was pushing herself beyond what her body could handle. The tracks showed she was struggling, one hoof dragging more than the others, the gait uneven and labored. But she kept coming. Nothing would stop her from following her baby. The foal called out again, and again that weak answer came from behind them. The young horse became increasingly agitated, trying repeatedly to turn back toward the sound. Marcus had to position himself to keep the foal moving forward, all while maintaining their course toward the cabin. "I know you want to go back to her," Marcus said, his voice hoarse from the cold and effort. "But we need to get you somewhere warm first. She's following us. She'll make it. Just keep moving." But Marcus wasn't sure he believed his own words. That dragging gait, that weakening call, the mare was in serious trouble. Every instinct told him to go back and help her, but he couldn't risk losing the foal in the storm, and he couldn't carry both animals to safety. His only option was to keep moving forward and pray the mare had enough strength left to follow. At the half-mile mark, Marcus caught his first glimpse of the follower. During a momentary break in the snow, he turned and saw her, a mare standing about 50 yards back, barely visible through the white. Even at that distance, Marcus could see she was in bad shape. She swayed on her feet, her head hung low, and that left hind leg wouldn't bear weight properly. But when the foal called out, the mare lifted her head and answered, then forced herself forward another few steps. Marcus felt his throat tighten with emotion. This mare was dying on her feet, but maternal love was driving her forward. She would follow her baby until she literally could not take another step. Marcus had witnessed many remarkable things in nature during his career, but he'd never seen determination quite like this. "Come on, Mama," Marcus called back through the storm. "Just a little farther, 3/4 of a mile. You can make it. Follow your baby's voice, follow us." The cabin was tantalizingly close now. Marcus could see the dark shape of it emerging through the snow ahead. But the mare was falling further behind. Her calls were becoming weaker, less frequent. Marcus faced an impossible decision. He could get the foal to safety now, which might give him time to go back for the mare. Or he could wait here in the storm, risking both animals, hoping the mare could close the distance. Marcus made his choice. He scooped up the small foal. The youngster weighed maybe 200 pounds, and Marcus was strong from years of backcountry work. With the foal cradled in his arms, he ran the remaining 1/4 mile to the cabin, fighting through snow that reached his knees. He burst through the cabin door, laid the foal on the floor near the wood stove, threw several logs into the fire, and turned to run back out. The foal struggled to stand, calling desperately for its mother. "I'm getting her," Marcus promised. "Stay here. Stay warm." Marcus grabbed rope, more thermal blankets, and his emergency medical kit. Then he plunged back into the blizzard, following his own tracks back toward where he'd last seen the mare. The wind had picked up even more, and his previous footprints were already filling with fresh snow. He found her collapsed in the snow, 300 yards from the cabin. She'd made it so far, pushing her broken body beyond any reasonable limit, but she'd finally fallen. The mare lay on her side, breathing in labored gasps, her left hind leg bent at an unnatural angle. A break, probably from a fall on ice or into a hidden hole, that had happened hours or maybe days ago. But she'd kept walking, while her legs shattered with each step, while infection likely set in. While her body began shutting down from pain and exhaustion, she'd kept following her baby. Even now, lying in the snow, she lifted her head when Marcus approached and tried to struggle to her feet. "Easy, Mama. Easy. Your baby is safe. He's warm. And I'm going to get you to him." Marcus worked quickly, wrapping her in thermal blankets, checking her vitals as best he could in the storm. Her pulse was thready, her breathing shallow. She was in severe shock, hypothermic, and the leg was badly infected. But her eyes, when they met Marcus's, held desperate hope. Her baby, where was her baby? "He's close. So close, just hold on." Marcus knew he couldn't carry an adult horse. But he had rope and determination. He fashioned a makeshift harness around the mare's chest and began pulling, dragging her through the snow toward the cabin. It was agonizing work. Every foot required tremendous effort. The mare tried to help, using her 3 good legs to push while Marcus pulled, but she had almost nothing left to give. The 300 yards took 25 minutes. 25 minutes of Marcus pulling with every ounce of strength, his muscles screaming, his lungs burning from the cold air and exertion. 25 minutes of the mare fighting to help despite her catastrophic injuries. 25 minutes that felt like hours. But finally, impossibly, they reached the cabin door. Marcus dragged the mare inside, positioned her near the wood stove, and immediately began emergency treatment. He cleaned and dressed the infected leg wound, administered antibiotics from his veterinary emergency kit, wrapped her in every blanket he owned, and set up IV fluids. The foal's reaction to seeing its mother was immediate and heartbreaking. The young horse rushed to the mare's side, nuzzling her face, making soft sounds of relief and recognition. The mare, despite her condition, lifted her head and gently touched her baby's muzzle. The reunion was brief. The mare's strength was failing fast, but in that moment, Marcus saw pure love and relief in both animals' eyes. Marcus worked through the night. He called the veterinary emergency line and followed Dr. Sarah Chen's remote guidance. The mare's condition was critical. The leg fracture was severe, the infection advanced, and she'd lost dangerous amounts of body heat. Dr. Chen's prognosis was grim. "Marcus, even if the weather clears tomorrow and we can get her to a hospital, her chances are maybe 20%. She's been walking on a broken leg for at least 18 hours, probably longer. The pain alone should have killed her. The only reason she's alive is that she refused to leave her foal." "I know," Marcus replied, looking at the mare and foal lying together near his fire. "I watched her follow us for over a mile. She fell twice that I saw. Both times she got back up. Nothing was going to stop her." Through the night, Marcus monitored both horses. The foal was recovering well, young, resilient, mostly just cold and scared, but fundamentally healthy. The mare was another story. Her temperature wouldn't rise above 92 degrees. Her breathing remained labored. The infected leg was swelling despite treatment. But whenever the foal nuzzled her or called softly, the mare would respond, lifting her head slightly, touching her baby gently. Around 3 a.m., the mare's condition began to deteriorate rapidly. Her breathing became more shallow, her pulse weaker. Marcus called Dr. Chen back. "She's fading. What else can I do?" There was a long pause. "Marcus, you've already done everything possible. You saved that foal and gave this mare a chance to see her baby safe and warm before the end. That's more than most would have done. Sometimes love means knowing when to just be present." Marcus understood. He sat beside the mare, one hand on her neck, speaking softly. "Your baby is safe. He's warm. He's going to be okay. You did everything a mother could do. You followed him through a blizzard with a broken leg. You never gave up. You are the bravest horse I've ever known." The mare's eyes were closing, but the foal was pressed against her side, and Marcus could see the mare's awareness of her baby's presence. In her final moments, she knew her foal was safe. That was all that mattered. The mare died at 4:23 a.m., with her baby beside her and a forest ranger holding vigil. Marcus sat with them both as the storm outside finally began to ease, as the first gray light of dawn started filtering through the cabin windows. The foal didn't understand death. The youngster kept trying to wake its mother, nuzzling her face, calling softly, and watching this broke something in Marcus that had never quite broken before. When the storm cleared enough for travel, Dr. Chen arrived with a wildlife response team. They examined both horses, documented everything, and made arrangements to transport the foal to a rehabilitation facility. Marcus told them the whole story: finding the foal, the tracks in the snow, the mare following despite catastrophic injuries, the desperate race to save them both. Dr. Chen examined the mare's body with a veterinary pathologist. Their findings were staggering. The leg had been broken for at least 36 hours, possibly longer. The mare had walked over 20 miles on that broken leg, tracking her foal through a blizzard that would kill most animals in hours. The pain would have been excruciating. The physical stress should have triggered fatal shock. By all medical logic, she should have collapsed and died within hours of the injury. The only explanation, Dr. Chen said quietly, is that she chose not to die. Her foal was out there, alone, and she refused to let her body quit until she found him. I've studied equine physiology for 20 years, and I can't explain this survival medically. This was pure willpower, pure maternal love overriding every signal her body was sending. The foal, now officially named Ekko, because he'd called out to his mother through the storm and she'd answered, was placed in specialized care. At 5 months old, he was old enough to potentially survive without his mother, but he'd need careful nutrition management and gradual integration with other horses. The rehabilitation center reported he was physically healthy, but clearly grieving, calling frequently for a mother who would never answer again. Marcus visited Ekko every week. He'd formed a bond with the young horse during that desperate night, and he couldn't let go. Over the following months, he watched Ekko grow stronger, healthier, eventually joining a small group of rescued Mustangs at the facility. 6 months after the rescue, the rehabilitation team decided Ekko was ready for release back to the wild. They'd located his original herd, the same band his mother had belonged to, and arranged for a supervised release. Marcus attended, needing to see this story through to its conclusion. When Ekko was released in the mountain meadow, where his herd grazed, something remarkable happened. The herd's lead mare approached the young horse carefully, sniffed him thoroughly, and then, in a gesture that made everyone watching tear up, she gently touched her muzzle to Ekko's forehead, exactly where his mother would have touched him in greeting. Then she turned and led him toward the herd. He'd been accepted. He was home. Marcus watched until Ekko disappeared with the herd over a ridge, finally free and safe. He thought about that desperate night, about a mare who walked through a blizzard on a broken leg because her baby needed her, about love that transcended pain, survival instinct, and physical limitation. Before leaving, Marcus placed a small marker at the spot where he'd first seen the tracks in the snow, where he'd realized something was following them. The plaque read simply, "In memory of a wild Mustang mare who refused to give up. Her final gift was her baby's survival. May we all love as fiercely." Ekko thrives today with his wild herd in the Wyoming mountains. Marcus Webb continues his work as a forest ranger, forever changed by what he witnessed. The story of the mare who walked through a blizzard on a broken leg became a teaching case in veterinary schools about the mind-body connection and the power of will to overcome physical limitations. If this story of ultimate maternal sacrifice moved you, subscribe for more true animal stories that reveal the depth of love in nature. Hit like, share, and tell us, how has this story changed how you see wild animals? Thanks for watching.